Welcome to my channel to everyone who's new here, and of course to those of you who are back again, great to have you here. Bitcoin is currently trading at $104,400. In this video we will take a look together at possible scenarios for the price development of Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP and Solana. Things remain exciting, so make sure to watch until the end. And if you also want to trade with cheap takeoff fees, then I can recommend you the crypto exchange mexc, which has a similar trading volume to Bitget and Bybit. But as you can see, I already highlighted you it here, the takeoff fees are far much lower than on the other top crypto exchanges. And on top of that, you can save another 20% on those low takeoff fees if you use my referral link, which you can find in the video description. 100 pairs, 0 fees just on mexc, and here you can trade some popular altcoins without any fees on mexc. So I have done 1 hour ago and community post. I'm going to do an update soon. We have formed more bearish patterns. Some already broke to the downside for specific altcoins. Bitcoin also went into its take profit, into its target, but it's not showing strength breaking to the upside. Instead, we get more bearish patterns in. So, what did we say yesterday? We have said here, inverted head and shoulders formatation, which broke to the upside. The thing was that I have seen the breakout. Wait, let me take out the price mark here. So I have seen the breakout. Here was the breakout. We got a 1 hour candle close over it and another green candle. So that's the breakout. I went afterwards into the 15 minutes chart to look for the retest. Here was the first sign of a retest. But what I want to see is having several hours or 50 minutes candles touching the blue trend line. Instead, we broke here to the downside, so I didn't watch into Bitcoin anymore. Yeah, I was like, okay, the retest failed, and I'm done with Bitcoin. If we go into the 1 hour chart, then you can see that this candle didn't close lower than the blue trend line. So basically, this is a valid retest, and I've seen it afterwards. What we do then is, we had 2 targets on the chart. The first one was in the length of one shoulder. We put it to the retest point, but here's the retest. Down here. So with this green candle, we went into the take profit. We take afterwards, if we are more bullish, the head, the length of the head. Put it then to the retest point, to the lowest part of the retest. And you can see, that's why I always use the target of the shoulder, because the target of the head don't always get hit perfectly. But with this candle here, and also with this candle here, we went near to it, so I can take this one out from the chart. So the inverted head and shoulders formatation, it worked, but it was difficult to trade for me. I didn't trade because I looked into other coins, for example Casper. There was a profitable trade in my opinion. So, it's lagging right now. What do I see for Bitcoin? In orange, rising wedge. This one here. Broke to the downside already. In bright blue, double top pattern. Broke to the downside, I think, 45 minutes ago. So basically, we are heading to the downside. Target of the double top pattern is the 103,300 US dollar. Target of the rising wedge is the 102,750 US dollar for Bitcoin. What I would say is that we can get into this fair value gap, which is still over 103,500 US dollar. But once we lose the 103,500 US dollar, then I think we can get lower prices for Bitcoin, even far lower than the targets, because we still have the ongoing target of an old head and shoulders formatation, this one here, which also broke to the downside. Target 101,277 US dollar. I will also put to here the price mark. I think this is very realistic that we get there. If we also lose it to the downside, then I have here a support box, which is between 98,000 US dollar to 97,000 US dollar. If we drop that low, then I can take out the target of that bullish pennant and then we are most likely not going to meet the 114,400 US dollar. We have to find other patterns showing us the direction. But as long as we hold the 101,000 US dollar, or even here the support at 102,000 US dollar, I can make this one longer, we can still get into a new all-time high for Bitcoin. So let's jump into Ethereum. So what we have said about Ethereum was that we had here in bright blue and rising wedge. This one here. Broke to the downside, got its retest, got its follow through. So basically the target is still ongoing from that rising wedge. It's down to 2,220 US dollar. We had some hope. If we go into the 50 minutes chart, then you can already see what I have drew here. We hoped for, let me take out what I have drawn before and I will re-explain it. So, we have hoped for an inverted head and shoulders formation. This was the left shoulder. This could have been the head and we waited for the right shoulder. This didn't happen. We broke to the upside anyway. So I can take this one out. Then we have said we might have a double bottom pattern. This one here, double bottom pattern. If it breaks to the upside at currently 2,550 US dollar, and the price mark is still ongoing, 2,550 US dollar, if we break it to the upside, then we take the spread from the low to the top, put it then to the breakout point, which is currently here, and 2,625 US dollar is going to be the target. If we break to the upside, means we need to get something like this. So, since we got rejected at 2,550 US dollar and we sold off again to 2,475 US dollar, we also have a double top pattern, which is a bearish pattern. So, both patterns, double top pattern and double bottom pattern, form a rectangle. And for a rectangle, we take the spread of that rectangle, of that box, and put it to the breakout point. It doesn't matter in which direction we break it to the downside. We take still the same length. So, two trades are possible, long and short. Short if we break the 2,475 US dollar to the downside. Long if we break the 2,550 US dollar to the upside. So, what I think is that we are going to break to the downside. 2,475 US dollar if they break to the downside. Then the target of that rectangle is going to be the 2,400 US dollar. I will put you here the price mark. If we go into the 1 hour chart, then you can see that I have put you here a red trend line, which is a support trend line with just 2 touch points. 2,400 US dollar is going to be also support. I didn't find any better support trend line. So basically we have to use this one. If we also lose this trend line, which I have marked you here in red, then I'm going to increase my position size because I think the next target is going to be the 2,325 US dollar. If we also break it to the downside, then I'm going to increase my position size again for the fair value gap down to 2,220 US dollar. If we also lose that, then we have here another fair value gap, most likely getting closed. But this is still a far way down, but I think here is a huge trading opportunity if we break everything to the downside. So if we break here to the downside, then it's a 2.7% trade. If we also break it to the downside, then we can double up for our position. I will do it, for example. Then 6%. And if we also lose that support, then I'm going to double up again. So down to 2,220 US dollar, it's still 10%. And we are going to double up on the way down. So this can be a huge profitable trade for Ethereum. So what about XRP? For XRP, we have said that we have here in bright blue a falling wedge, which is a bullish pattern, which broke to the upside. But personally, I missed the retest. So if we look into Caspar, for example, it's just to show you something. If we zoom in, then you can see it probably better. So, also in bright blue, falling wedge, broke to the upside, and we got our retests 3 times in a row. So basically here was a profitable trade and it was valid. If we look into XRP, we didn't get any kind of retest. So we don't even know if that falling wedge is going to work. I have also told you that once we break it to the upside, it might be possible that we get into the $2.21, but here's a major resistance. I want to see the $2.21 breaking to the upside, then I would be long for XRP into the area $2.28. Why $2.28? Because usually we take here the spread of the rising wedge, of the falling wedge, put it to the breakout point. But if we get afterwards lower prices, which we got here, then I'm going to put it to the lowest price. Target $2.28, $2.29. I would also say that the target is still ongoing. We would invalidate that target, in my opinion, once we break the $2.13 to the downside. If we break the $2.13 to the downside, then we have something different in play. And we might see far lower prices for XRP. What I also see here is still ongoing the inverted head and shoulders formatation, which we have said yesterday. We didn't invalidate that pattern yet. But if we look into this market stage and we just draw with our fingers a trend line, then you can see we already broke one trend line to the downside. So basically, if we lose the $2.13, not looking good. If we break the $2.21 to the upside, then I think we can still meet the target $2.28. If the $2.28 also breaks to the upside, then we have here a huge fair value gap, which is between $2.38 to $2.43. This can be a profitable trade on the long side, but this fair value gap doesn't have to get closed yet. We also have here a target from the old rectangle. Like I said, rectangles are unique. We break them to the downside, and afterwards the target is still ongoing from the rectangle. One day we will get there. And what I can imagine is that we might break to the downside, get a huge push, maybe even down to $1.92, $1.86, and from here get a push into that fair value gap, into the target of that rectangle, and afterwards we have to see if we are going to push to the upside or if we are going to sell off. But this is currently what I think. I think we can expect lower prices, but lower prices are also positive if we catch a nice long trade. Because if we are somewhere here and we have some chart patterns which are telling us here is the target, then we can take a long trade down here instead of up here or even higher, because we don't take a long trade now, in my opinion. We take them once the $2.21 breaks to the upside, then we would take a long trade here. And we can get far more gains, for example, if we break to the upside now, then it's 7.5% up to 10%. If we get far lower prices down into the fair value gap and we take it just from the upper part from that fair value gap into the other fair value gap, 25%, 26%. So here are far more gains. So Solana. I think that Solana is also not looking good. We have said that we had here a trend line on the chart, the red one right now, but before it wasn't red, it was a white trend line. We broke it to the downside. We have set target $149.50. We didn't get there, we missed the target by $1. Instead, we pushed to the upside, got our retest and went into the circle. This circle was a fair value gap and also the target of that ascending triangle. So basically I can take this one now out. It didn't play it off very well, but we still met the target. Wasn't tradable in my opinion. Can also take this one out. Now this trend line is red. I will show you why. We are on the 1 hour chart. We have one touch point, a second touch point, a third touch point. We broke to the downside. We got one retest, so 4 touch points. We broke here to the upside. We got another retest, 5th touch point. Yeah, we can also count this as a touch point, 6 touch points. Here, those 2 touch points I will count as 1 touch point, 7 touch points. So basically this trend line is valid in my opinion, and we lost it. So what I can imagine for Solana now is, if we aren't on the way down to $149.50, if we don't get something like this, then I can expect that we are going to retest that red trend line, but this wouldn't be bullish. If we zoom in, then you can see we still have a fair value gap, a very small one, this one here. Over the next hours we can retest it and sell off from here into the $149.50. It would be positive if we break that red trend line to the upside again, which is currently the $155. If we do, and we get a nice retest, then this can even be a nice long opportunity, because we have here an upwards trend line. We can set our stop loss lower than the red trend line, and over the time, since that red trend line is an upwards trend line, we can move our stop loss always lower than the red trend line. And here you can see after a few hours we would be at break even, and then we can save up our trade even more and even be in profits afterwards. If I want to do it or not, we have to see it, how the price is going to develop, its own risk management in my opinion. This is a bit more risky to do. But yeah, if we lose the $149, $145 is going to get the target. If we lose the $145 as well, then $132 is the next target, which is the target of, in orange, rising wedge, which already broke to the downside, which got its retest, which got its follow through. So everything we get to the upside can also be just a correction to this down move here. Then we get a correction to the upside, and afterwards we sell off. This is still possible. Yeah, so we have to see price marks breaking to the upside or downside. So far, one broke to the downside. Now we are waiting for the $149 breaking to the downside. Then we can increase our position size for Solana or even open a new short trade. So that's it. In a few, I would say in 1 hour I would upload the video about Sui, AVAX, HBAR and Dogecoin, and afterwards Render, Tau, Casper and ONDO. Thank you for watching.